Pastor John Hagee has spent decades preaching about faith, perseverance, and trusting God through life's greatest storms. Yet, there came a time when the man whose powerful voice filled churches and television screens around the world faced a battle that threatened the very instrument of his calling. 2 millions. He appeared unwavering behind the pulpit, but behind the scenes, his own body was fighting against him. It was a struggle that few fully understood, one that tested not only his physical strength, but also the faith he had spent a lifetime encouraging in others. And in many ways, that private battle became one of the most powerful sermons he ever lived, long before he became one of America's most recognizable evangelical leaders. John Hagee dedicated his life to ministry with a clear sense of purpose. Through decades of preaching, founding Cornerstone Church in San Antonio, writing best-selling books, and reaching audiences through television, he built a ministry that touched millions. His messages were often bold and uncompromising, earning both devoted supporters and outspoken critics. But regardless of differing opinions, few questioned his commitment to the calling he believed God had placed on his life. For years, Hagee seemed to possess limitless energy. Week after week, he preached with passion, traveling, speaking at conferences, and leading one of the nation's largest congregations. To those watching from the outside, it appeared that nothing could slow him down. But here's what most people never realized. Behind the scenes, serious health problems were quietly developing, threatening both his ministry and his future. One of the most dramatic turning points came in 2008 when Pastor Hagee underwent open-heart surgery, including a 4-way bypass. For any person, such a procedure is life-changing. For someone whose daily mission depended on constant public speaking and leadership, the challenge felt even greater. Recovery required patience, discipline, and a willingness to step back, something that rarely comes easily to people driven by purpose. Yet, after months of healing, he returned to the pulpit with renewed gratitude, often describing his recovery as evidence of God's sustaining grace. Then, another unexpected trial emerged. Hagee publicly shared that he had been diagnosed with myasthenia gravis, an autoimmune neuromuscular disorder that can weaken the muscles responsible for speaking and swallowing. For a preacher, losing the ability to speak clearly is more than a medical problem. It strikes at the heart of his life's work. According to Hagee's own testimony, there were moments when continuing his ministry seemed uncertain, but, through treatment, rehabilitation, and determination, he gradually regained enough strength to continue preaching. As if those battles were not enough, the COVID-19 pandemic presented yet another frightening chapter. Hagee contracted the virus and developed double pneumonia, leading to hospitalization during a time when older adults faced especially high risks. Many followers feared the worst. Yet, once again, he recovered and eventually returned to ministry, expressing deep appreciation for the prayers and support he received. His story became one of endurance rather than defeat. Today, Pastor Hagee's role looks different than it once did. At 86 years old, much of the regular preaching and day-to-day leadership at Cornerstone Church has been entrusted to his son, Pastor Matt Hagee, rather than signaling a sudden health crisis. This reflects a planned generational transition while John Hagee remains active as founder and senior pastor, continuing to teach, provide spiritual oversight, and influence the ministry he spent decades building. There have been no verified reports of a major health emergency. Perhaps that is the quiet lesson hidden within Pastor John Hagee's journey. Faith does not promise a life without illness, surgery, or suffering. Instead, it offers strength to endure when those moments inevitably arrive. His health battles remind us that even those who inspire millions are still human, facing fear, uncertainty, and physical weakness just like everyone else. Whether you agree with his teachings or simply admire his perseverance, his story stands as a reminder that resilience is often forged in life's